Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here, and it's finally time for me to review my Galaxy Note 7. And before I even get into the review of the device, I would like to talk about the big issue with the Note 7. As most of you know, there's a defect in very small number of units where the battery could potentially overheat, causing the device to explode. And there were enough units that this happened where they had to recall every single Note 7. Now, with that being said, if you do have a Note 7 in your hand, please shut it off. Please go get it returned. I really don't want you to get hurt or anyone around you either. And to be completely honest, this was a huge oversight on Samsung's part. Now, regardless of the issue itself, Samsung does seem to be genuinely apologetic and also doing their best to quickly fix their huge mistake. Now, I do want to hear from you guys. Let me know, drop a comment what you think, if this is actually going to stray you away from Samsung in general or if you're going to give them another shot in the future. Just leave a comment, let me know. I'll probably reply to a few of them as well, just interested in talking about this specific issue. But anyways, let's get to the task at hand. Going to do my full review, give you my entire thoughts on the Samsung Galaxy Note 7. Let's get started. Now, to begin, I want to make a very important note that the Galaxy Note 7 is one of the most expensive Android devices out right now. The base model starts at $850. So with that being said, it should be one of the best devices out at the moment. Now, to begin, I would like to talk about design of this device, and it's definitely one of the best looking devices out right now. It's also extremely premium feeling as well, so it definitely matches the price point with the way it feels in your hand, although the back was a little bit slippery and also collected a decent amount of fingerprints. You see, I fixed that with this slick wrap. Now, down at the bottom of the device, you do have your 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. I'm not sure if that's actually considered a feature now, but it does have one. You have your charging slot. You do have a USB Type-C slot, so that's pretty much the standard right now. I'm glad they actually included this. Also does include fast charging as well. You have a microphone, your speaker, and your S Pen. And then in terms of speaker quality, it's about average, to be completely honest. It gets fairly loud. Sound quality is definitely just average. It is a bummer that it's on the bottom and not on the front of the device. I believe the water resistance of the device also inhibits the amount of speaker quality they can actually add to the device. Now, you'll also notice with design that 5.7-inch display is curved on both sides. So coming up the right side here, you'll see your power button. This is actually my favorite button combination. I have one on the right side and then the volume rockers on the left side here. The buttons are actually just about the same. Very premium feeling once again. No issues there. And of course, with that curve, it just gives it a very sleek look. Looks like things spill off the page. We'll talk about that more in just a little bit. And then moving on to the top, you have your SIM card slot along with expandable storage micro SD card. So glad they have that. And a microphone as well. On the back of the device, you have your 12 megapixel camera, LED flash, and a heart rate sensor. And to be completely honest, I've not used it once. I really wish they would just include an IR blaster instead of a heart rate sensor, or just an IR blaster in general. That's unfortunately missing on this device. I also want to make a mention on the front of the device, you have your back and recent capacitive buttons on the front, and then you have a physical home button as well, which also acts as a fingerprint scanner. I'll talk about that in just a second. Up at the top, you have an iris scanner, and then also a 5 megapixel front-facing camera, along with some sensors. As I mentioned before, the Note 7 does have that IP68 certification, so it is water resistant and dust resistant as well, which is fantastic when using it in the rain. If you accidentally spill on your device, you can bring the device in the pool or the ocean. I don't necessarily recommend doing that, but you can if you'd like to. Now, when it comes to that fingerprint scanner, it is usually fairly accurate. At times, it can be a little bit slow to turn the display on, which means it takes a little bit longer to unlock it. Now, usually I'll just press that home button and leave my finger on it, and it unlocks it. Most of the time, it is quick. Occasionally, there is some lag, though, when I actually turn the display on. Right now, it's acting just fine, but every once in a while, you get a little bit of a delay when you unlock your device. Now let's talk about that iris scanner as well, and it has worked very well. It seems like more of a novelty. I don't necessarily use it all that much. I find myself just using the fingerprint scanner. If I go ahead and press the power button and swipe to unlock, look at the iris scanner. I have to hold it pretty close to my face, as you can see, and it unlocks it. It works very well in most lighting conditions. I might do a separate video talking about the iris scanner in various lighting conditions, so stay tuned for that. The Note 7 has a 5.7-inch 1440p Super AMOLED display, and hands down, it is my favorite display on any device out right now. Viewing angles are fantastic. Outside, when you have auto brightness on, brightness gets more than enough bright, and you can easily see everything on your display. There are some settings you can mess with in terms of font. There's a nice blue light filter, which I use all the time at night. This should be a standard on every device. There's a nice blue light filter. You can change screen resolution as well. So if you don't want it to be 1440p, you can bump it down to 1080 or even 720, which is going to make things look a little bit different, a little worse as well. However, it might save you a little bit of battery life. Now, there's also a screen mode option where you have adaptive, AMOLED Cinema, and AMOLED Photo, and Basic as well. So you can kind of customize it and tweak it to your liking through that as well. Now with that Edge display, you have some Edge features as well. So you can swipe over from that bar, which you can customize position and size. But here's some tasks you could take. So if you want to quickly compose a message or do a timer, I do that a lot when I'm cooking. If I swipe over again, you'll see I go to a couple stocks I have that lets you know when the S&P is. Swipe over again. This is my favorite one, Yahoo Sports. Talks about upcoming games, along with sports scores of your favorite teams that you choose. You have apps as well that you can quickly jump into specific apps. And of course, going into settings, there's other various ones such as People Edge, so also My Places, News, CNN, Quick Tools, Internet. You'll see you have a good amount, and also other ones you can download, but People Edge is another one I've used where you can quickly go to favorites within your contacts. When it comes to battery life on the Note 7, you have a 3,500 milliamp hour embedded battery, and of course you do have quick charging, and also you do have wireless charging, and you can fast charge through wireless charging if you have a compatible charger as well. And simply put, battery life is above average for me. You'll see here I got 4 hours and 8 minutes. I think all in all, on average, I get about 4 hours and 20 minutes screen on time, which does essentially get me through the day. So battery life is very good. Not as good as I would have hoped, though. With that size battery, and just kind of how far we've came with processors, etc., I would have hoped battery life would have been a little bit better. So it's nothing too explosive, but it is still above average. Now jumping into the camera app of that 12 megapixel camera, it loads up the viewfinder. You can swipe to the left for your various modes. You have pro mode, slow motion, a hyperlapse mode. You can live broadcast food as well. And then swiping to the right brings you to all of your filters. Now when it comes down to it, taking pictures on the Note 7 has been fantastic. Absolutely no issues taking pictures. Definitely one of the top 3, if not the best camera out right now on any cell phone. Now with the video recorder, you can also shoot in 4K resolution. Jumping into some settings right here in the upper right hand corner, you'll see video size. You can shoot in 1080 60 frames a second if you'd like, but you can also shoot in 2K or 4K as well. Overall, they've done a very good job at making this camera app in general way more simple. You can just tap on this to go to your gallery. You have an HDR mode you can switch on, off, or auto as well, and then you can flip to that front 5 megapixel front facing camera as well. And you can take selfies 2 ways, as you can see. Tap the heart rate sensor, or you can hold your hand out with your palm facing the camera to have your picture taken after a few seconds as well. Now, I don't want to show you all the great pictures that I took out in nice lighting scenarios, or even somewhat not nice lighting scenarios. Maybe check out my Instagram. I'll post some more of those on there. But here's one in a crazy lighting scenario. This was me at the Blink-182 concert, and I was very impressed with this picture in general. Just kind of the detail on the fans, and of course, I'm just trying to get detail on Blink-182, etc. And of course, the lights were all changing. The colors were all changing. And this did a very good job. Everyone was moving around. I was even moving around. There's Travis Barker right there. Just overall, a fantastic picture in terms of quality, especially considering the conditions. Now, next, I want to talk about something unique about the Note series, and that would be the S Pen. So pretty much if you'd like a stylus, this is pretty much your only device that you can actually go to. Now, here's something I use all the time. When you take it out while your device is locked, you can go ahead and quickly write a quick note on this black screen. You can scroll down to add more if you'd like to, save it, erase certain things, but I'm going to go ahead and delete this because I don't need it. But that's something huge that I use all the time. Also, it clicks like a normal pen, which I know is a novelty, but I find myself just kind of sitting here clicking it quite a bit. Now, I don't want to get too in depth with the S Pen because I plan to make a separate video on it, so I'll link to that below once available. But a couple things I want to talk about, one of them being magnify, just a nice little feature where you can hover over and magnify a specific image. So if you're drawing something, or if you need to read text a little bit better, you can change the percentage as well if you'd like to. So that's just something that I've used before. One S Pen feature I find myself using more and more is the glance feature. So if I tap on that, you'll see that Play Store app just went in the bottom right corner. You can customize the position if you'd like to, but what happens is, let's say I want to go into the settings app, for example. I'm in this app. Now I want to go ahead and glance back at the Play Store app. I hover my S Pen over it, and it goes ahead and loads it up. Now if I hover back, it's going to go back to that settings app. Now, if I want to interact with it, I can just go ahead and do so. Now, what happens is if I'm interacting with it, let's say I go into the Solitaire app, I move my pen away from the device, you'll see it will go ahead and minimize back into that corner so I can go back into that settings app. Or if I want to go ahead and press home, I can go ahead and reuse my device in a free way. Now I can press and hold on it and remove it if I want to get rid of that glance feature. So another nice added feature that's a neat concept. And of course you can customize these shortcuts that do pop up if you want to add a specific app or a different S Pen feature as well. Smart Select's pretty nice where you can actually create GIFs or GIFs if you'd like to of specific videos and send those off so you can make your own custom ones as well. Another nice feature. Again, more to come on the S Pen in the near future. Now next I'd like to talk about performance and software. Software being a big one, but first performance. It does have a Snapdragon 820 coupled with 4 gigabytes of RAM, which really isn't necessarily a performance increase from the S7 or S7 Edge because it does essentially have these same specs. Now with that being said, it performs just about the same if you watched my S7 or S7 Edge review. I will link to that below. But if you missed it, no big deal. I can talk about performance once more real quick. Now, when it comes to multitasking, it does a good job. RAM management is definitely better than it used to be. So swiping back, let's go into relay. Multitasking is pretty quick. You will get an occasional stutter here and there, so that's a quick note because I believe of TouchWiz. So TouchWiz is a big one that does add a lot of features. I'll talk to those when I get to software, but you'll see multitasking seems to do a very good job at quickly going between them. But like I mentioned, even doing basic tasks such as sending a message or other specific basic things is when it actually, you'll find that it lags or just kind of has a little bit of stutter, and I believe that's due to TouchWiz. And of course, now talking about software, let's go to About Device. It does have Android version 6.0.1 Marshmallow, so it is not on Nougat. I will make a Nougat review video on the Note 7 once it does come out, and I'll link to that below once I make it. The Note 7 does have TouchWiz, and it does have their TouchWiz launcher. You'll see if you swipe over to the left, you do a flipboard. You can actually get rid of that if you'd like, if you don't actually want that there. And then the app drawer is a horizontal swiping app drawer. So overall, I am pleased with the TouchWiz launcher. Really no issues with that. And now in terms of the theme, it does have a lot of white to the settings, and you'll see up here there was actually an update which made specific notifications similar to how Android 7 Nougat is, where you can tap to view details, and then if you have multiple notifications for a specific app, it will show both of them, and you can also minimize and maximize those. So somewhat similar to how Android N handles notifications, where you can actually act upon them separately, and then if you swipe one away, you have just the one now. So just kind of something different. You can block notifications, where you'll see here you can choose the specific apps that have notifications and block them if you'd like to. Another nice little feature there. And then of course, if you expand up here, you have all of your various shortcuts, which you can customize the order and position of them as well. You'll see the flashlight's probably the one I use the most, or that blue light filter as I mentioned earlier. Now the settings app in general got a bit of an overhaul on how they reorganized everything, and it took me a little bit of time to get used to, but now I'm pretty much used to it, so I can find things quickly. It's also important to note that if you go to something, maybe advanced features, and you scroll all the way down, they always have a looking for something else option. So if maybe you're looking for smart switch, you can go ahead and go into it, and it brings up smart switch or night clock. It'll load that up as well on the Edge screen. You can add a night clock as well. So those are other options. Again, if you go into display, scroll all the way down, you have other ones that they suggest that you might be looking for, just to kind of give you a feel of where everything is. Now, in my opinion, the Note 7 is one of the best multitasking devices out there. One reason is this, where pop-up window, where you can go ahead and move the window into a specific box. You can move that around with other apps open as well. You can expand it. You can contract it into a little bubble as well, which allows you to have other apps, a lot of apps open at one time. So let's go ahead and open up another app. So let's say, I don't think the settings app actually works. So let's try clock. I believe clock app might work. So the clock app does work. Let's go ahead and minimize it like so. Then you have two apps open. You can go ahead and open both of them at the same time if you'd like to, but just one way to actually multitask. And then of course, they do have split window as well. So if I expand on this, you'll see this app stays open, and then of course to close you just press the X. Now if you want to go ahead and open the split view, you can press and hold that recent apps. You see clock does not support it. Let's go to the Play Store, press and hold, opens up the split screen option, and of course it is limited. I believe with Nougat it'll expand the specific apps that you're actually able to open, but if you want to open up a specific app like My Files, you can go ahead and do so. And this has been around for a little while now in Samsung, which is why it's so great that Android's adding it now, because they essentially took something from a skin over Android and added it to stock Android. The Note 7 has a bevy of software features added to Android. One of them, one-handed operation, triple tap on that home button, and then of course you can use it with one hand, which is a nice addition to a large device. Smart Stay, I don't necessarily see working when you're looking at the device. It does work, but I don't use it enough because I have my display stay on for about 5 minutes at a time. Pop-up view I talked about. Smart Capture is one of them, where you capture hidden areas of the screen with screenshots. You can press and hold power and home. Smart Alert, where it'll let you know. Direct Call if you put it up to your face. So a lot of features. Easy Mute, actually just cover the device with your palm or flip it over like I mentioned. Direct Share Video Enhancer, enhance the image and sound quality of your videos as well. So just so many features to try out and test. It can be overwhelming to specific people. Now, to be completely honest, the Note 7 is a fantastic device. I've been very pleased with using it. I would definitely see myself using it as a daily driver, aside from, of course, the whole battery issue and the recall, etc., like I talked about at the beginning of the video. But overall, a very good device. Now, at that price point, I think it might be a little bit overpriced, to be completely honest. If you don't have the money, I don't think it justifies spending $850 for a base model of a phone. It does, however, add so many features, especially top quality screen, top quality camera, obviously with the water resistance as well. A great fingerprint scanner, aside from just, I think, software kind of messing with how quickly it will unlock the device. So overall, if you can deal with the software, if you can deal with the average sounding speaker, it is definitely one of the best devices out there. So I do recommend it as a device in general. Like I said, I could see myself using it. Hopefully you enjoyed this review video. Click that thumbs up if you did. Click that subscribe button as well. I'd really appreciate it. You can follow me on various social media. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching.